like to talk to you about that masterpiece of dramatic action, passionate love, and violence that is Giacomo Puccini's Tosca. Puccini first came across the subject when he saw the play by the French playwright Sardou. He wrote to his publisher, "I see in this Tosca the opera I need, with no overblown proportions, no elaborate spectacle, nor will it call for the usual excessive amount of music." So he really saw in this the perfect subject matter for his perfect opera. And he begged Ricordi to get permission to create an opera out of this subject matter. And once they had permission, he struggled and worked with two different librettists, Illica and Giacosa, to create a libretto. And the effect was amazing. It has a lean and effective plot with excitement and compelling characters and action. And all three of these main characters are given moments to shine dramatically and consequently musically when Puccini got his hands on it. So he also, in addition to this very carefully crafted libretto, he used some musical devices that hadn't been seen too much before this. He incorporated a very popular vivismo opera style in which you had to have everything happen all in one day. So the pace was very rapid and it happened in live action, more or less. And it had to depict real people doing real things. So that means no lofty ideals, no praising the gods, no big quest to win some fair maiden's hand. No, they got down and dirty. There's murder, there's suicide, there's torture, there's all of these things. They're gritty and real people. Then Giacomo Puccini also did this opera more as a through composed piece. Things are getting more and more smoothly running from beginning to end instead of having more of like a numbers opera where the arias really stick out from the texture of the piece. And he didn't really have an overture. It leapt right into the first scene, more or less. He also incorporated musical motifs for each of the three main characters, and they're associated with those main characters throughout the opera. So these kind of musical devices combined with this great libretto creates such a dramatic force that is Tosca and the characters of Tosca. So this opera becomes then one of the most popular and most frequently performed operas ever. We're going to have a sample, a video sample of it, probably the most famous musical piece from the entire opera. There are two arias that are performed fairly regularly. One is the tenor aria in E lucevano le stelle, in which he is in prison, he's expecting his execution, and he is saying a farewell to his love and to his life. And the other one, which is what we're going to have our sample of, sung by Karen Early Evans, is the soprano aria from the end of Act 2, Vissi D'Arte. I have lived for art, I have lived for love. Why, Lord, how are you repaying me in such a way? So to set up the scene, it's important to understand what kind of amazing person that Tosca was, especially for this time that she lived in. She's a woman of means and a professional. She has her own income. She's well respected in the community. She is not dependent upon any man to make her way through this world. It was rather unusual. So she has power of her own. She also has some political influence in the world. So, a woman in a position of power and independence. So, from the very beginning, the Scarpia, the baritone who's the chief of police, he is obsessed with her because she has this power and control, and he is a person who wants to take power and control. He doesn't want anyone else besides himself to have it. So he pursues her relentlessly, and he is also busy purging any of his political rivals. And her lover, Cavaradossi, the painter, happens to be one of his political rivals. He throws Cavaradossi into prison and proceeds to torture Cavaradossi. And the only way that Tosca can have arranged for Cavaradossi's freedom, Scarpia says, is if she gives her body to Scarpia. And she has to give it willingly. So this is his way, that he will do anything he can to take her power away from her. And so Vissi D'Arte occurs at this moment when she asks the Lord why, when she's tried to be such a good person all of her life, is she being repaid in this way. So immediately following this aria, the bodies begin to pile up. She pretends that she's going to kiss him, and instead she stabs Scarpia and says, "This is the kiss of Tosca." So Scarpia is dead. She runs to see the execution of her lover. Scarpia had told her that he would do a fake execution of her lover, and she finds out that it is a real execution of her lover. So her lover is dead. The guards are pounding at the door, and she knows they're going to kill her, but instead of waiting for them to kill her, she suicides off the balcony of the castle. So everyone's dead.